Hey guys, Jeff. I'm back just trying to do a quick one. They never work out as quick, but we'll see what we can do. Just another listening stack video for the last week. I was just too tired to do this last night, so I'm doing another after work one. Well, let's just jump in. So this one I think I showed before. This was by the Japanese theatrical Japanese theatrical group Tenjo Sakai. They most notable member I think was J.A. Caesar, who was a bit of a cult following, I guess, as a psych artist. But this one, it's just a soundtrack. Kind of interesting. Has some early work from Carmen Maki on it. It's got I can't show you all this because it has a lot of nudity, but um, yeah, kind of interesting album. I'll probably give it a couple more listens. I might pass this one on eventually. But, it's a fun listen. Kind of little some folk stuff. A lot of like blurbs from the actual movie, which I've never seen, but now I definitely need to. Forget what that translates as, but yeah, whatever. I'm sure the movie's not as interesting. Um, let's see. It's kind of a like sexual awakening, coming of age, kind of controversial Japanese underground film for sure. Anyway, moving on. This is a early repress of Ahmad Jamal's first album. Most notably, it has Darn That Dream on it, which is one of his early hits. So this is a mono, late 50s, I believe. The cover is getting kind of shot, even since I took it out last. Yeah, an Argo. I'm gonna put that back in its plastic sleeve as soon as it's done, because this cardboard on this one is kind of self-destructing. Pretty good one. Maybe I'll put a link to Darn That Dream. I know there's a really good live video of that from the early days. But yeah, his first album was still quite solid at that point. Very much in the bop vein. Of course, he's a pianist. This one has Israel Crosby on bass and Ray Crawford on guitar. Very solid album if you ever see it. I don't think I paid that much for that. I think it was under $10. It's fairly clean. Yeah, this one's definitely not for everybody, but I absolutely love it. This is a Andrew Tales from the Crate free guest kind of special here. Here, a lot of reflection on that, but it's just a really glossy cover. This one is Jim O'Rourke, KG Hino on vocals, and Oren Barchi. I think he's mostly doing percussion on this one. Double album. This is super avant-garde. I don't know. It's not so much jazz, but it's avant-garde experimental rock, but closer to free jazz than rock at times. But there's some really hard hitting tracks that are a bit like heavy psych ish. But yeah, if you know like Jim O'Rourke's more experimental stuff, you'll at least kind of know where this is coming from. But excellent album if you see this. So again, it's Keiji Haino, Jim O'Rourke, and Oren Barchi. I never got to see the trio. So this was a live album, not filmed, but recorded in Tokyo at Super Deluxe years before it just closed earlier this year. I really should have gone to those last shows, but I was just really kind of out of it and tired at that point. Yeah, Oren Barchi was on drums, yeah. Jim O'Rourke on bass and backing vocals, and of course Keiji Haino doing everything else: synths, harmonica, electric guitar, vocals. Yeah, it's some interesting vocals on this. So gatefold. I don't think there's any real inserts on here. It just has 2 albums. Nothing too fancy, but really solid, really good stuff here. If you're into that kind of more experimental stuff. I'll I think one or two of those songs are on YouTube, but some of the stuff is along the same veins as this. If you like Chrome, yeah, some of the tracks on there are similar to Chrome. Yeah, Chrome, really hard hitting. This one was recorded like very late 70s, I believe. Yeah, 79. So, yeah, kind of, I guess you'd almost call this like a proto-industrial, really hard hitting punk, post-punk, proto-industrial, awesome craziness. Probably one of my top 20s there. Need to get some of their other albums of theirs. I know John Carlson's shown some recently. Try to link all this stuff down in the comments. This one's a really good pickup. This one came out 6 months ago. There's still a few copies floating around. They sold out within like a month or two of this coming out. I think even weeks. There's only about 500 of these made. So this is a compilation double LP comp of the Outcasts. I don't think they never got terribly famous. I'm trying to think if they had any singles. Not really, but it's very solid. But yeah, if you like the Irish, it's late 70s Irish punk. So they're out of the same scene as the Undertones, the Stiff Little Fingers, Buzzcocks, that thing. Very similar sound to it's kind of like between Stiff Little Fingers and Undertones. You'll hear a lot of undertones in them. So little rougher power pop at times, but yeah, it's early punk, like 77 punk. If you like that stuff, this is a really good album, solid throughout. So this is pretty much like their singles. It has shows a lot of the singles information inside, and it comes with like a mini poster. This is Secret Mission Records. They do a lot of Japanese stuff. Unfortunately, I just missed out of town when they visited Japan last, which is unfortunate. But I'm sure that was a really good show. So yeah, definitely if you're into that 77 punk, you like Stiff Little Fingers, you like Undertones. I actually like this better than Undertones. It's very close to Stiff Little Fingers. Worth the check out there. It's a really good pressing too for a small label like that too. I was pretty impressed. Yep. Next one. This is German first pressing. I showed this a long time ago. The Dave Pike set, Noisy Silence, Gentle Noise. So it's a single album, but it's a gatefold. So half of it's German, half of it's English. Yeah, really, this thing looks new, but this is the original pressing, 69, I believe. So this is like, what, 50 years old now. And I think I showed this before, but yeah, it's got the Gemma stamp and whatnot. So on MPS Records. Yeah, pretty clean copy I picked up in Japan for not very much at all, actually. Roughly 15 for this, but I think these go for over 100 normally. Very happy to find that. So yeah, really good. What does this sound like? Listened to this last weekend, so it's a little not fresh in my head, but yeah, it is jazz, but it does have some kind of soul jazzy moments. It has some kind of one or two tracks are kind of like kind of a psych thing going on, and then sitar on one track, as I recall. So I'll try to put that on. Yeah, Mathar. Maybe I'll find that on YouTube for you guys. That's a good one. And yes, a lot of people showing this recently for some reason. So yep, I pulled this out. Finally listened to it all the way through. This is a solid one. This is the Bangladesh concert that George Harrison did. So on Apple Records. This one a little more surface noise than I was expecting, considering how good the vinyl looks. But yeah, it's very listenable. By cleaning it up a bit more. It's a triple album. It starts out with Ravi Shankar, and it's got a lot of George Harrison on it, and who else was on this? There's a side with Bob Dylan. There's some Ringo tracks on there, and what's his name? Leon Russell does some Stones covers. Surprisingly, they didn't get Mick Jagger or someone on it to do the Stones. But yeah, it's if they don't go for much, if you see it, pick it up. It's a really good album. Pretty good recording for live of the time. Recorded mid to late 70s. Really solid one. So was it say the concert for Bangladesh? Late 70s, I believe. And everyone knows this one. I won't spend too much time on it, but this is my really old copy. I'm working on getting a Japanese pressing of this because this one, it's listenable barely, but this one's really crackly. So first U.S. press of David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust. That's on Dynaflex. Yep, that's a Dynaflex. So yeah, need an upgrade copy, but yeah, it's definitely the favorite David Bowie album of my youth. But I have to say, Station's now my favorite. Everyone knows that one. Another one from Inexpensive Pickups. I probably should upgrade this one. It's got a little bit of crackly, but it's not too bad. So that's King Crimson's Lark's Tongue and Aspect. It's got some, starts out really mellow and then it really starts kicking in. What's that track? One of the tracks has that kind of like do 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 do. It's kind of wonder if that was like Star Wars, like that trench run. It's kind of like that. It's a very similar thing that John Williams did there. I gotta wonder if that's where it came from. But curious if you guys know. But yeah, I haven't listened to this in a while. This one kicks some major butt. I've listened to it a couple times recently. Yeah, I'll definitely be looking out for an upgrade copy. This one's high end of VG, but still a little more crackly than I'd prefer. Got some really quiet moments. I honestly cannot remember if I showed this last week or not, but yeah, I cleaned it up a little bit more. But Sarah Vaughan in Hi-Fi. This, I think, is the original pressing. It's a Columbia 6i. Oh, yeah, I feel like Sarah Vaughan. It's vocal jazz, your Ella Fitzgerald and whatnot. So, if you like that sort of thing, solid. I don't know, I can't. Pretty much all her albums are pretty solid. I have a few of them. Let's see, and then next, Picture Disc. Yeah, his Picture Disc never sound as good as the real thing, as Andrew Towson the Crate always says. But yeah, this is a flop. I believe they're West Coast. I can't remember if they're Olympia or something, but they definitely got signed and did a whole grunge thing. They got the pretty cool artwork on there. I think it's Art Chantley, but it's not Art Chantley. It's the other guy. Maybe it is the same guy. I have no idea. But it's I always liked his artwork. What's his name? Edward Frothingham, but it might be an alias actually for Chantley. But yeah, his and her sides. It's kind of like kind of power poppy, but way of that kind of that Olympia kind of sound, Seattle Olympia sound. But yeah, kind of power poppy. Okay. But yeah, this is worth a listen. It's a good album. It's really solid. I think you can still get this one relatively inexpensively. This one is on this is my original copy. I think it came out around 93, 94. Yeah, 93. And it's on on one of Sony's fake indie labels, because at the time everyone was buying all the indie stuff. I have some of their 7 inches too. They're pretty solid. I'll try to link it up, but yeah, kind of power pop by way of that's kind of West Coast sound at the time, early 90s. And here, this is Flipper's live album, the one that I mentioned to Steve Carlson the other week. So it was recorded in '83, and I think it was released soon after on a cassette, and then it was released in the early 2000s on ORourke. Used to be a cassette label, but they released this on vinyl in the early 2000s as a reissue. Pretty good recording for the time, considering it's punk. But it's surprisingly no Sex Bomb on here, but it's got most of their early '80s stuff. Let's see what's on there. Yeah, ha 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 ha, Love Canal, Sacrifice. Yep, yeah, those are the big ones, I guess. Okay, but yeah, Flipper. That's a pretty solid album if you see it. Again, I don't think I paid much for it. Bought this in Japan, but it's definitely US pressing. Another Japanese one. This is one of the more recent reissues of this guy clear from the screen, but yeah. Always mess up their name. Gakuboyo. I'd say this is their best album. I think this is considered like a mini LP because it plays at 45. But it's got like three tracks on the first side, 2 on the second. Yeah, so at 45 RPM, plays really nicely. But yeah, this is Psych, modern Psych. Yeah, this is a really solid one. Yeah, if you see it, pick it up. It's a really good one. If you're into the King Gizzard and the Acid Mother Temple and all that, it's somewhere in between that. Okay, and I think this one was a recommendation at some point from Tales from the Crates. Yeah, Anthony Braxton, solid album. Definitely not for everybody. This is free jazz, pretty crazy. Just sax. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting compositions. You definitely have to be in the right frame of mind for this one. Just almost random sounding notes. He said what he was trying to go for on this one. I think this one's dedicated to Bobby Fischer, the chess champion. Again, I don't think they go for much. You can pick it up pretty inexpensively. This one is like maybe a 50-cent pickup. This is a repress of Gene Krupa and his orchestra. Interestingly, yeah, he was a jazz drummer on the bop vein. No drummer in the picture, but I think a couple weeks ago I showed another one with Dave Brubeck. Yes, same cover. This is just the repress cheapo cover, I guess. So they don't have to pay rights to the photographer or something. But yeah, if you see Gene Krupa for 50 cents, pick it up. Green copy. This is on Columbia Special CSP. But yeah, don't know how early this was in his career. It's an interesting one, but the other ones I've heard of were better. But yeah, for 50 cents, yeah, I'll definitely throw it on again and again. Yep, and this is one of my ones from I bought back in maybe high school. I love this album, Magazine, with what's his face, Howard Devoto. He was the vocalist from Buzzcocks. This is Magazine, and so at this point he's getting a little more into that post-punk thing. A lot of keyboard synth. There's some sax on here. But this one's got Shot by Both Sides, Definitive Gaze, My Tolupa, Burst is one of my favorites. And yeah, Light Pours Out of Me is good on the outside. This is a really solid album. I almost picked this up again in Japan just to have a second copy. I have a couple copies of their live album. I have a UK press and a US press, so I gotta compare them and see which one sounds better. So if anyone needs their live album, I do have that. I could swap that with somebody after I figure out which one I want to keep. The original US in Strink, and I have a UK repress, which got a texture sleeve. But yeah, solid stuff. If you like Buzzcocks, this gets a little more out there with keyboards. It's a little more harder hitting. Magazine. Check this one out. This is probably a top 10 for me. This is an awesome, awesome album. I'll throw a link in below. So yeah, I'll try to wrap this one up early tonight. So yep, have a good one, guys. I need to maybe hit an album or two before I get to sleep. And yeah, have a great week at work, guys.